All right, well, welcome back to Comanche Productions. As we get closer to turkey season, we want to come on here and film, more calling videos, more tutorials, and how to help you become a better turkey hunter. So today we're going to be talking about a slate call, or as some people call them, pot calls. When I refer to slate call, I'm referring to all pot calls, even though this one in particular has a glass surface. So first off, we're going to kind of talk about the different types of pot calls. You've got, as I said, you've got glass, you've got slate surface, you've got aluminum surface. Now, the way I personally use slate calls is glass to me is a little more louder, carries farther, higher pitch. Slate's a little quieter, a little more raspy, doesn't travel as far, so maybe you can use that a little closer up when a turkey's beginning to come closer. Um, I personally have never used an aluminum pot call. I just kind of find what I need with glass and slate. Mainly, I use glass. This is Woodhaven uh, Classic Cherry Crystal. Um, my favorite slate call I've ever used up to this point. And I think probably one of the best slate calls ever made. So with your pot call, you have a striker. Now, you've got many different types of strikers. This right here is a hickory striker. It's a two-piece, which means this and this part, the handle and the stick, are glued together. You've also got, with this particular call, it comes with a cherry call, or a cherry striker, I should say. So this is, again, the cherry, has a little bit different frequency and tone and that kind of thing. First thing I want to talk about with a slate call is how to hold a slate call. I see a lot of people holding them like this, and while it still sounds okay, the problem is the sound's not carrying the full length that it needs to. These circles here act as a soundboard. This right here, the bottom of the slate call, is a soundboard, and this is where the sound comes out of, and it helps project that sound wherever you need it to go and how far you need it to go. So the best way to hold a slate call is like this: index finger and thumb, or middle finger and thumb, but you want to keep this bottom opened up so that the sound carries the way it needs to. So once you have your slate call picked out, your striker picked out, you know how to hold it. That's probably the first step, and arguably the most important step of learning how to use a slate call. Now that we've talked about the striker, the slate, and how to hold it, we get into the actual calling with a slate call. Now, the most basic noise or basic sound that you need to know how to do that a wild turkey makes is obviously the yelp. You want to find the sweet spot on your call and scratch with a piece of sandpaper or grindstone or whatever you have, and sand it down good so that your call makes good friction. Without that, your call will sound like this. Nothing. So once you've got your call sanded good, you want to hold your striker just like this, and you want to have it so that you can move it good and have good mobility. You hold your slate and you simply make either a oval or a J. I normally make an oval. You can variation with sound. You can get loud. You can even use a different striker. Changes the sound as well. There you go. That's how you yelp on a slate call. So once you learn how to yelp, then you can get into more advanced calls on a slate call. You can learn to cut. So a cut, all you're doing is you're taking your call at a 45-degree angle and you're sliding it. You're popping it quick, but you're letting it return back to the same spot it was. So just like this. You can change frequency with that. You can change tone. You can get excited with it. That's kind of one of the more harder calls to learn with a slate call, but it's certainly one that you can use to either strike a turkey or just to call one in itself. So you've learned how to hold the call, you've learned how to pick the right striker, you've learned how to condition your call, you've learned how to yelp, and you learned how to cut. Now is the cluck and the purr. Probably, in my opinion, the best use I would say with a slate call. This could be for getting a turkey to come closer. I've even had turkey shot gobble to these. So all you're doing is you're dragging your call slowly across the surface, and you're clucking. And that's pretty much the ins and outs of a slate call. I'm not great with a slate call, as you can probably tell. Slate calling is not exactly my my favorite way to call turkeys, but I do use slate call, to get a turkey to gobble, or in certain situations I'll pull a slate call out. Certainly is a useful tool when it comes to calling turkeys, and hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed.